Hey Trekkies, it's summer, and you know what that means. It's time for Creation Entertainment's Trek to Las Vegas 2025. This year, the convention has been expanded to a 5-day schedule, August 6th through the 10th at the Rio Las Vegas Hotel. Meet all your favorite Star Trek pros in one place, and hey, maybe you swing by Vic's Lounge and you see our panel. It's a great way to meet people in person and have some fun with your fellow Trekkies. If you can't make it to Star Trek Las Vegas, of course, there's also other events around the country this year. Trek to Orlando, August 23rd through 24th. There's the Trek to New Jersey, September 6th and 7th. And finally, the Trek to Chicago, November 22nd and 23rd. We're looking forward to meeting as many of you as we can this year. So make sure that you get ready to trek to Las Vegas.
This is Bruce Horak, and you're listening to Open Pike Night, the podcast that will make your blood scream.
Is this thing on? Hello, hello. Welcome to Open Pike Night, the Strange New Worlds podcast where your personal logs are the prime directive. I'm your host, John T. Bolds, here tonight with my co-hosts and an amazing guest returning to the Open Pike Night Stage. But unlike Star Trek Strange New Worlds, we don't make him get dressed up as different species each time he reappears. Joining me tonight are my co-hosts. First up, the man who has the answer, but much like a cadet, can't always show his work, Jesse Bailey.
Hey, the results are what matter, and I just want to say to every teacher I ever had growing up, I do have a calculator on me at all times.
And the man who breaks what is fine, fixes what no one asked for, and always blasts the K-pop, host of Green Shirt and Newbies Trek to the Next Generation, Cameron.
Oh yeah, I've got 3 purposes.
Our guest tonight is an artist and creator, a fan favorite as the grumpiest member of Starfleet, a Garcog to make our heart throb, a fantastic guy all around, Bruce Horak. Welcome back to Open Pike Night.
Hey, nice to be back. Thanks for having me, y'all.
Oh, it's great to have you back. It's been since December of 2022 since we talked to you last on Open Pike Night. I mean, we saw you in Vegas last year in person, but that's the last time we sat down. And when we did sit down with you, we asked you a little question that you couldn't answer at the time. Let's listen to a clip from that previous interview.
Going into season 1, you know Hemmer isn't going to make it, but it did allow you to cross some things off of your Star Trek bucket list, I believe it was your phrasing. And we now have, as you have said, reason to believe that your time in Trek is not over. This will be my last question on the subject. Have you crossed anything else off of your Trek bucket list? Good enough for me. Thank you, sir.
No hesitation on that.
You answered that very quickly.
No, none.
So now that we've seen season 2, what were you referring to?
Klingon! Klingon. Got to play Klingon. Are you kidding me? Top shelf. That is that is right up there. And, you know, the makeup, the whole experience. And, I mean, God, I got to sing. I got to sing 2 versions of the same song. I got to, sit as the captain of a Klingon bird of prey. You know, just the armor, the whole thing. It is dream come true.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that leads us right into that. So you knew last time we talked, you knew that you were going to be in season 2 because you had already filmed season 2. But how did that come about? When you wrapped season 1, did they say hey, we've got plans, or did you get a call later? Did you learn about 1 and then think you were done and then get the call about Garcog, or how did it go? How did it go down?
Oh, gosh, I have to jog my memory. It does feel like a while now, but it was after the wrap of season 1. But there was some buzz in the makeup trailer that there might be something coming down the Pike. Whoops. But does anyone else use that? Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No. And then it was that there was going to be a couple of episodes, a few days in season 2, and what I was doing and kind of the involvement of it trickled out over the course of the time before it let up. But yeah, then the musical, and then I found out. Gosh, it must have been like a month and a half or something before we shot that episode that I would be a singing Klingon. And I got to go in and do some rehearsals, and the whole experience. It was pretty spectacular, and also getting to come back as a zombie, that was pretty great.
Did one of the writers learn that you were in Evil Dead the Musical when they offered you those two? Because I mean, Evil Dead the Musical set you up perfectly for season 2 of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Right? It really did. It was like it was meant to be. I don't believe so. That wasn't even a conversation that I even considered, I think, until I got on the podcast with y'all and we got talking about Evil Dead, which is something in my distant history, but it was super sweet to actually get to do zombie and then get to kick it up with. I don't think they actually captured any of the high kicks that I did, but that was just between the trailer and set.
And did they just offer you Garkog, or did you have to audition?
No, that was just a straight up offer.
Wow,
that's great.
It really was. And I think there was the day that I went in to record the tracks, Tom
Polchi,
was saying that they wrote these things and didn't really know the voices that were going to be singing them, and just felt like with every performer that came in and sang, he's like, oh my God, they got so lucky, they got so blessed. And the day that I got to spend in the studio belting that stuff out, it just felt like, it felt like just totally my comfort zone.
Did you get to actually meet with him ahead of time, or was it just the first time you worked with Tom and Kay? That
was it, the recording day, and I think it was just Tom in the studio, Tom and Bill. I had one day before that where I ran through the songs with the voice coach in a trailer on set. I think I had a little makeup test, and then I was an hour and a half with the voice coach just to run through. And I had gotten the demo tracks before that just to rehearse on my own. I'm like, well, I can do this. It's top end of my range. And then the Klingon opera one, I'm like, oh yeah, I can definitely kind of land that one in the pocket. And we worked for an hour and a half or 2 hours in a trailer, and I just felt so good and confident that going into the studio and recording with Tom, it just felt really good, really right.
I was just going to say that leads perfectly into our caller Melanie's question.
Melanie.
Yep.
Hi, Open Pike Night, and hi, Bruce. This is Melanie from Germany. As many fans have already told you, I also loved Hammer and was sad to see him go. I also loved you as Uhura's mentor and showing her that she belonged in the end. And I'm for sure not the first one to tell you that as well, but what you achieve being blind in acting and painting, and I don't know what else, wow, it's just amazing. I'm so glad we saw you in Subspace Rhapsody again, and I hope to see you in more Strange New Worlds episodes. So, my question is about your return in the second season. What was it like to return to the cast? Could you finally hang out more? As far as I know, that wasn't possible during the first season's filming due to COVID. And what was it like to be in Star Trek's first musical episode and play a singing Klingon? What did you prefer, the K-pop or Klingon opera version? I admit, I love the K-pop version a lot. Thanks for everything, and live long and prosper.
Well, thanks, Melanie. That's very kind words. What was it like to be back? It was so great. It was certainly emotional. I really did. I think when that first season wrapped, I felt like I had, left everything on the court and had done what I had been hired to do. And, in a lot of ways it was, scratch stuff off the bucket list, as we had said before. And I thought, my adventure in space was going to be done, and I felt good about it. I didn't feel like I had left anything unresolved. So getting to come back and do stuff in season 2 is like icing on the cake. A really, really sweet cake. Yeah, I one of my fond memories actually is when I saw the announcement of who was coming in as the replacement engineer, and then it was Carol Kane. Yeah, I shed a little tear of joy because she's a freaking rock star, amazing. And I thought, well, if you gotta go, like get replaced by Carol Kane, like that's a bit of all right. And yeah, I got to meet her on set when I was shooting. This is probably false memory syndrome, but I seem to think I was Zombie Hammer sitting beside her, like off camera. But that can't be true. Maybe it will. I don't know. I think we did all that in one day, where I was Zombie Hammer in the lift, and then I was regular Hammer in the flashback or whatever. And Carol was shooting some of her stuff that day as well. So getting to meet. I get real fanny, tongue-tied, and uncomfortable around people that that I've seen on screen. I am like that. I get into that bit of a fan zone where I've watched somebody on screen a million times. So when I sit next to them, it's like, I know you, but I don't really. And she's just, she was just so lovely and down to earth, and just meeting the season 2 cast in those couple of days that I was in, it just felt really nice to reconnect with everyone. And then last summer in Las Vegas, getting to see everyone there again. They say it, and it's probably become a cliche now, but there's a real family vibe to this whole Star Trek thing. Yeah. You may have picked up on that.
Just a little bit.
There really is. There really is a family vibe. And I feel, super honored to be a part of it. Now I'm going to cry. Thanks, Melanie.
and as far as the K-pop versus the opera, do you have a
your
favorite?
Sophie's choice?
Oh, Hammer's choice. Gosh, I don't know. The opera bit sunk in, I think, a little deeper. I think it was the first one I started to learn, because I honestly thought there's no way that I'm going to be able to hit the notes in that K-pop thing. But then in the studio, it was like, oh, okay, like adrenaline rushing on the day. And yeah, I mean, that was just super fun to dance to. I want to hear the whole version of that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, we all do. Yeah. That was a pretty common request after that episode aired. People were like, they probably made an opera version though, right? And then we found out they did. It is the cut of it is on the special features for season 2.
Are you
on
serious?
Blu-ray.
Yep. Oh yeah, we've seen it.
Oh no way.
Yeah, it was like the first thing we all loaded up. We're like, okay, we got to see this. And I love the opera, but like just for the flow, I think the K-pop totally works.
Yeah. Comedically, like it's a nice button.
I think if you watch just the musical clip, I actually like the opera better, but the flow from the bridge and their reaction, it's got to be the K-pop.
Well, it's funny, like just the awkward pause after the song and the looking at each other and then like boom, and then the door opens and we're back into the number like that. I hesitate to call it like a type of joke, but it is like it's a visual joke that we're all very familiar with, and that style is like it sits in my world. And I know that my brother Steve, hey Steve, my older brother Steve, who is an engineer, he and my sister-in-law and their kids watched that episode and they didn't know it was me. And they watched that scene like 2 or 3 times, and Steve said that was the funniest. We had to pause it, we had to go back. It's like, oh my God, singing Klingons. And then when they got to the end, they saw, oh, like that was my brother. And I like, okay, first of all, awesome. Second of all, prosthetics crew, like thumbs up. Because you buried me, and that's amazing.
Man,
if it can fool my brother.
Yeah. And talk about like just a truly unique legacy in the world of Star Trek, Bruce. Like, you got to be the guy that Spock rips off. They had to go all the way to Carol Kane to replace you, and you're a singing Klingon. Like, come on, man. Nobody else can claim these things. This is amazing.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Singing Klingon.
That's fantastic. We have another call here. Another question about the musical and some other parts of season 2. Here is Newman.
Hi, Open Pike Night. Newman the Space Hippie here from the Movies for Days podcast. So excited that I get to send in some love and flowers and a couple of silly questions for the great Bruce Horak, who played one of my absolute favorite characters in the first season in Hammer. I'm sure you get this all the time. That fine line of crotchety but with a heart of gold, that's not the easiest line to walk, I think, as an actor, and especially with all of the change and development we saw from this character over just 10 episodes. I just want to really commend your work, and just personally where I was in my life and what I was working toward when I saw the episode where him and Uhura got super close. It really got to me in a very deep and meaningful way. When you told her you create bonds, it's a gift. Of course, the people you care about are going to cause you pain. It will hurt, but the love it yields will far outweigh the sorrow. Bro, goddamn, how dare you? Very quick questions for you. If you could have been in the musical episode, what kind of a song would you like Hemmer to sing? So I'm curious, what's Hemmer or Hemmer and his team in engineering? What are they singing? And if you could have appeared at the trial for Una Chin Riley, what might Hemmer have said in her defense? All right, much love to the whole Open Pike Night crew. Keep rocking and rolling, you beautiful Bruce. Newman the Space Hippie out.
Oh, wow. Newman, thanks for those. Wow. Okay. Whew. If Hammer was actually in the musical episode, and what are he and the crew singing? God, it's funny. Like I just watched that episode, and it's so like there isn't a number that's missing from that show, really.
Mm-hmm.
At least I feel like in terms of like, okay, here are the musical staples that you need in a musical episode, and I'm like the sort of work song is like the only number I'm thinking of, like the pan through every single part of the ship, and then we go from like the lower decks to like the guys moving cargo to like here's the engineering, blah, 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 and like that's how the whole ship works. But we kind of have that in Uhura's would keep us connected, and then that final closing number, which is about how everyone's working together. Mm-hmm. I just would have loved at some point to see, Uhura watching like a little Hammer on her pad, and then Hammer from the past is and he just kind of turns in and does like a couple of words or something, just in a number. It's like, what? Like it messes with the timeline, and it's like, wait a minute. So like now the fold has actually gone back in time to like, anyway, it would really cause more questions than is really worth the joke. But a musical number about red shirts. Just to go with that fantastic novel I just finished reading. Have you guys read Red Shirts?
I need
Not
to.
yet? No.
Well, this is a side plug, but Adina Mignona got me on to listen to Will Wheaton reading a book called Red Shirts. And, it takes place in kind of a fictional sci-fi universe, and it's all the... Anyway, sidebar. What were we talking about? Oh, right. The question that Hammer... Or the piece, what would he say at his trial? And really, I think it's just about, that differences are what make us all stronger. And Hammer, as an alien, as an outsider, I think has felt that, has experienced that. And if you're an augment or whatever you are, if you're bringing your piece of passion to the collective good, then it's up to Starfleet to accept that.
I love that.
I would just like to pitch Hammer singing like a Tom Waits style ballad.
Oh yeah, the piano has been drinking.
Oh man, especially if it was just only about it's so dang warm on this ship. Can we please turn the AC down? Like,
yeah, but he's got a whole number called "Turn It Down."
Yeah. We will happily write that and send it to you.
It's a bedtime number with Hammer.
So you had a little bit of a relationship with Star Trek before you got to Strange New Worlds. Were there any Klingons that you looked to, maybe a favorite Klingon in the Star Trek oeuvre, to get some inspiration for Garkog, or was he just all you?
Well, Christopher Plummer's, and he's quoting Shakespeare the whole time, and he has an eye patch as well over the other eye. That was certainly part of it. I dug deep into some Michael Dorn, a little Worf action. Oh, which is the one where Kirk and Bones are in prison?
That's
movie.
The same with General Chang with Christopher Plummer. That's Star Trek 6.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of vibe for Garkog. Although it was pretty. I mean, I don't even know like if all these stories are covered by my NDA, but
that's the best introduction to a story you can give.
So went into my prosthetic fitting the day before we were to shoot. And so they were going to put me in the prosthetics and put me in front of the camera and see how it looks and then shoot the scene the next day. And as I'm getting like in the vehicle on the way to set, I get a panicked message from one of the prosthetics guys saying, just a quick question, which is your artificial eye? And I wrote back and said, it was my right one. And then it was like, okay, great, thanks. And then I didn't hear anything. And then when I finally showed up at the set, they're like, okay, so there's been a mistake, and they had put the eye patch over my one good eye.
Oh, man.
They put it on the wrong side. So they're like, how would you feel about just shooting that, like shoot it blind? And, there's a little discussion around that. It's like, it really wouldn't be fair to just like take this guy who's got 9% vision and then just take that all away if we can possibly manage it. So they cut the eye patch out of the one side and flipped. Basically, Chris Bridgers, who's the head prosthetic, stayed up all night and basically cut the whole thing apart and repasted it and rebuilt this Klingon face the day that we had to shoot. It's incredible. Like, and I look at that. That's kind of why I was again going back, just because I'm totally in awe of the prosthetics on this show. Like, I don't know, like you guys have been watching Discovery, but the stuff that's showing up this last season is like, what's his name? Locke? Oh my God. Anyway, like all love to the prosthetics guys, but that was a lot of fun. And then, so got into like the full Klingon makeup on the day and like went out and, wearing the armor and met the dancers and like just having a great time. They put me in the chair and got the camera on me to do my first, this is General Garkog of the Imperial whatever scene, and did my first take of it and like full, like went for it. Like Christopher Plummer just like chewing the scenery, and Chris Bridgers, who was shooting that or was directing it that day, just went, yeah, maybe just a little.
Gotta start somewhere.
And I'm like, awesome. That's something I could do. It's much harder to turn things up than it is to turn them down. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to get to play.
I want to see that
because they're kind of absurd. They're really fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can use any of that. It sounds like I'm throwing somebody under the bus.
No, I think it's a great story. I mean, it's just fun to learn more about it.
Well, honestly, I had such a intimate experience at the prosthetics trailer because there was a lot of days with those guys. And, shooting in the pandemic and the lockdowns and everything. I mean, we're all social creatures. And that was the time I got to spend kind of out of my house, finally, in physical presence with other people. And it was really, it was a really, really lovely experience. And they're truly gifted artists. Like, I've done a little painting, I've done a little airbrushing, but these people are like absolute top of their game with the way they built that. And the fact that Chris Bridgers was able to go from one day where, and I've got a photo of myself with the kind of half cut open Klingon Garkog face that we used for the camera test. And what it went from that day to the next day is amazing. And those things are, they're built to be very malleable to the face. They don't last forever. So generally at the end of a shooting day, they end up in the trash because they're just falling apart. So the fact that he was able to take that and work the wizardry, that I just think, gee, there must be some sort of award for that.
I have to agree with you personally that they need to be nominated for and win that award, because going into season 2, there was a bar and an expectation for Klingons, because, I mean, you may have heard the Klingons in Discovery were not initially universally well received.
What?
I loved them.
Right.
I'm like, they're aliens. Get over it. They look like aliens.
Yeah.
But yeah, to really nail that look that people just know in their heart what they want to see on screen. I mean, it's a kind of magic. And actually, one of the people that we met in Star Trek Las Vegas, waiting in line to see you, Bruce, was our friend Aaron, and he ended up getting Klingon prosthetics from a vendor there, and he wore it like the whole third day of Las Vegas, and it was just like,
yeah, he just
man,
walked up just the next
know-
day fully Klingoned out, like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
Aaron, how's it going? Yeah, it looked great.
hey, it's that
That's
that guy from the Bruce line.
fantastic. That's so great. Well, I was in Vulcan, Alberta last year for Volcon.
Oh, nice.
And it was the week before Las Vegas. So I don't know if you remember, but the musical episode got released, I think, the week we were in Las Vegas last year. So it hadn't been out yet when we were in Vulcan, and also the strike was happening. And however, in Vulcan, Alberta, which is like Canada's home of Star Trek, and there's a museum and a ship, and there's a parade, and all the street lights in downtown of our little Starship Enterprises, and they have this incredible, like Nimoy's been there, and anyway, it's a really incredible Star Trek convention, and the contingent of people who dress up as Klingons there is like 90%. There's a group that comes in from Edmonton, like 3 hours away, and they camp around the small town, and got photos taken with the Klingon prosthetics, and some of them are amazing, and then some of them are just hilarious and like don't take themselves too seriously at all. And speaking of family vibes, like everyone I think they sell out at 1,200 tickets. Like that, because they don't have enough room for any more than 1,200 people. And every hotel in that town and the 3 towns around it are totally full. And everyone knows each other. It's like walking into Cheers. It's amazing. The vibe of that place. I don't know how we got on that. Oh, Klingons, and being surrounded by Klingons. There was a moment where I wanted so badly to tell this group of Klingons, like, I'm one of you.
Oh yeah,
I'm one of you now. But it was too soon. They hadn't
By
released
a
the
week.
episode yet.
Dang.
Man,
I missed it.
they were
by a
in
week.
Klingon royalty and didn't even know it.
that's rough.
I want to see General Garkog's spinoff.
Right?
Heck yeah.
Yes.
He went
Really?
somewhere after that event. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
If Picard can have one, Garkog can.
Yeah.
right. Garkog.
Star Trek
yeah.
Garkog. So what makeup takes the longest? Himmer, Zombie Himmer, or Garkog?
Oh, I believe it was regular hammer actually, because the zombie hammer wasn't as many pieces. I think that like as I recall with zombie hammer, I don't think there was as many pieces. Although the costume did take a while because they had to keep gooing it up with all the gore that's flowing out of Hammer's chest. And Bernadette Croft, who is the wardrobe, the head of wardrobe there and the designer, snuck in some maggots into the goo that is coming out of Hammer. There's space maggots. If you
mentioned
look
those
in
to
really
us.
close.
Yeah, she was super
Yes,
excited about those.
yeah.
Yeah.
So those were practical? Those were actual maggots?
Yeah, there's maggots in there.
They're not real. They're not living
Not
maggots,
real,
Jesse.
no, but they're not living maggots, but there's space maggots. Yeah.
I think we should have just let Jesse believe that.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
So
we got them.
speaking of Zombie Himmer, like, how did you get into character? Were there conversations about how zombie, like what level of zombie you would go, or?
Oh yeah, Dan Liu, who was the director and worked on Walking Dead, had a lot of great insight into being zombies. Less comedy, than I was going for. But I had done Evil Dead, so I was ready to, like, you know, just this side of thriller it up. But it was and much slower than I think my initial impulse was, because it's, you know, he's threatening Uhura, but as Dan said, it's like the slower and more specific you are in your movement, the scarier it is. Instead of like, just kind of coming and doing like the 28 Days Later zombie. Although those ones are pretty terrifying too, but in their own way. So that was, that was the big lesson, is just slow and precise.
Besides the zombie episode, you also worked on some of the very short tracks. You worked on Holiday Party and Holograms All the Way Down. What was the acting experience like for those?
No acting required. Wow. Oh, Casper, the writer director. Is it Casper?
Yeah, Casper Kelly.
Oh gosh,
Casper.
Yeah. Worked on probably about 10 years ago. There was a YouTube thing going around called Too Many Cooks. Do you guys remember this?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So, when it came out, I thought that was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. and it was an earworm that stuck with me for like months. And so they picked me up to go and record these things. And that's when I got I had a bit of the script beforehand, but I got the information that Casper Kelly was kind of working on it. And, you know, when he showed up on the big Zoom screen, again, I'm a fan, and I immediately got tongue tied, as I do in my fandom. And super playful. I'd never really done specifically voiceover animation work before. A big dream of mine, you know, ever since I was in high school, people said, "Oh, you should do voiceover. You got a real face for it." No, stop. But no, it's a dream of mine to do that. So to get to go in and voice Hammer in one of those animated things, and then the fact that it's in the style of the old animated series, just cracks me up, because I do remember that show, like Saturday morning cartoons growing up, and and it was always the show that I would turn off and go outside.
Oh no!
When Star Trek the animated series was on, it was time to turn the TV off and go outside.
Oh geez.
So it's very fractured memories of like, oh, I remember this kind of style of animation, but I'd never watched an episode all the way through. And when they said, "Oh, we're doing it in the style of the original series," I went back and started watching them, and they're just awesome. They're just so fun. Like in a really kitschy, horrible way. Yeah, I just thought, well, they captured that style. Not necessarily in the humor. I mean, it's more Casper Kelly's humor, but
right.
Yeah. How's that?
Star Trek the animated series definitely uses the word animated pretty liberally in its title, for sure.
Oh,
but I mean, same thing, man. I went back and watched all of them, and it's Star Trek all the way through, you know, just kind of like Holograms All the Way Down.
Yeah.
So you mentioned before we started that you had recorded an audiobook. Does that mean that voice acting is something you're going to be looking into doing more of?
Definitely want to be doing more voice stuff. Yes, I just recorded my first full-length audiobook. Adina Mignona, who reached out to me after Trek Long Island last year. She works on the Big Sci-Fi podcast, and she's an engineer and an author, and has written 5 books for kids now.
Oh, wow.
A robot series called, and I read the first one in the robot series. It's called Crazy Foolish Robots. And, I listened to the audiobook of that. And then Adina reached out to me and asked if I would do the audio of her latest book, which is called Lunar Logic. And, it's fantastic. It's about a group of robots that live on the moon, and they kind of get into an existential crisis when they try to figure out who created them and what they're doing there. It's really clever. It's got like kind of the heart being science fiction, but also like this really beautiful story to it. Adina is also like an engineer and puts stuff into outer space as her, regular job. So the engineering aspect of it, and the robots and the AI, all that stuff. I mean, she's kind of living and breathing in that environment now. So, and I think it really informs the writing of it. I also love that she wrote this thing as part of a NaNoWriMo project.
Oh, wow.
NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month happens in November. And basically, you have the objective of writing 50,000 words in 30 days, or maybe it's more than 50,000. But anyway, so she took the month of November, wrote the first draft of it. And what she's got now is great. Just published it. And I spent the month of March and part of April recording the audiobook, set up in my closet. As you do, because it's the best sound in the house. And just sat and read, and I love it. It's reading out loud is one of my favorite things to do, because I'm visually impaired. I don't drive, and when I go on really long road trips, I will read out loud to the driver a book of their choosing. And I've been doing that for a number of years as, I guess, my way of saying thanks for driving. And I've read out loud so many wonderful books, things that I might not have picked up of my own volition, but I love it. I love reading out loud, and had a good time with it. Had a really good time.
That is excellent to hear. And, LeVar Burton Reads is coming to an end, sadly. So I feel like there's an open niche for Star Trek engineer reading books on a podcast. Just throwing it out there, man.
Honestly, I'm going to take you up on that, because I've actually thought about that for the last, thinking about the last month or so, as I enjoy just picking up a book and reading it out loud. I read her book through twice before I recorded it, but I've often just picked something up and read it out loud and kind of gone with it. And I feel like it's a service that a lot of people would really appreciate, because there is a lot of content out there that listening to an AI voice read to you. It's funny. I don't know if you guys use that, like voiceover stuff and having it read to you. But as an experiment about 10 years ago, I set up voice activation on all of my devices. So I was constantly in conversation with these AI voices. And I found myself out in the world speaking like that. Like everything became very monotone, and I found myself speak like, oh my God, and I sort of snap out of it. I was living in Vancouver, so there was a lot to snap out of, but hey now, but yeah, it's one of those things, like it really doesn't kind of get under your skin, like who you're listening to. And so just sitting in the morning and reading things out loud for people, I feel like that might be part of my calling. So if LeVar's stepping down, put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
That's happening. Send me your stuff to read. How about that?
Say it out loud on Open Pike Night, becomes reality.
It will happen.
Yep.
Process.
Yeah. It's funny, like that. That's it. Just to your note, like, because of Star Trek, people have found me as fans. And for someone who spent, 25 years in virtual obscurity, to have random people from around the world, like we had Melanie from Germany, and I don't know where the others are from, but and there's a real community in the Star Trek thing. And I did get a request a couple of months ago, like, you should do a podcast. And just have no idea what I would do. But now, if I'm just reading stuff that people send me, then I have a beginning, middle, and an end.
Hey.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sold.
Well, we've got a few questions from callers into what we're going to call, I guess, the what if section of the podcast. And we definitely understand that there might be some what ifs that aren't unanswerable. We'll start with our friend David Jones wrote in, hello to my friends at Open Pike and to you, Bruce. Bruce, my question for you, if Star Trek ever did a what if series of episodes, what character from any previous show would you want to play?
What's left on that bucket list?
Oh, good question. Yeah. Speaking of one of my favorite experiences on season 1 was initially they were going to do a scene where Hammer falls out the back of the ship and you see him fall.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so they put me into rigging and gear, and I had a couple of days in the stunt room where they flew me like 2 stories into the air. And that shot never really got used. I don't think it gets used anyway. I think we sort of see him fall, but we don't actually get like the camera shot of him falling away from it. Getting to fly was totally terrifying, and I really want to do it again. So what if I just want to be a character that gets to do some flying, because that was both terrifying and exhilarating.
Spock has rocket boots.
Yeah.
Spock has rocket boots. Yeah, the rocket boot episode. Sure. Hammer and Spock. So it's a flashback, and Hammer and Spock, kind of cadet days, they get into the Klingon blood wine and they put on rocket boots and they have a race.
Oh, I'm here for that.
Oh, man.
On the next very short
rocket
treks.
boot race over a shark.
Yeah. I understood that reference.
Yeah. All right. And we have another caller here. Here is Zoe.
Strange New Worlds. This is the USS Cinema. Zoe Richardson, Captain Commanding. And I'm just cruising out here in the Alpha Quadrant on my experimental warp drive. And I hear tell that you've been able to bring back Bruce Horak. Bruce. Dude, how are you doing? I'm so excited to be able to get to talk to you, and I sincerely hope that I get to see you on the 3rd season of Strange New Worlds. And I am of the idea that you should just come back as a human. And I know that there have been people who have made this exclamation before, but I sincerely think that is the right move. What do you think about that? And how do you think that you would come back as a human? And would you be like a human in Starfleet, like another officer, or would you be like a traitor, or would you be a pirate? Do you see yourself as an antagonist or a protagonist? What are we working with over here? Do you think you would wear like a visor like Geordi? That's probably too much. A visor is probably too much, but I'm workshopping over here. I'm just spitballing. But anyway, it's great to get to talk to you. Richardson out.
Wow, Zoe's sound is so trippy in headphones.
Yes.
Wow,
He's
that's
got high
great.
production value.
No kidding. Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, coming back as a human would be really great. It terrifies me, mostly because my eyes on camera they're a bit wacky, and so. Going back to theater school and early days where I did some film and TV classes, we looked at it, and the honest reaction, honest bit of advice from my teacher was like, you're going to have to address this because it is an abnormality, and you'll have to explain it by the character is blind or visually impaired or whatever. In Hammer's case, like he's under prosthetics, and in the Klingon case, there's an eye patch and also some prosthetics there. The other role I've played on television as a human is a blind doctor on a show called Transplant. I had one day on a show called In the Dark where I played the blind librarian. And again, that's answering for the eyes. In Star Trek, though, to have me on there, it's like the explanations could be vast. And that's exciting. Sidebar, but when I was getting fitted for contact lenses initially to play Hammer, there was discussion at that time that they were going to make me an artificial eye because I wear an artificial eye, and they're like, oh, we'll just get you a new one and we'll paint it the color that we need it to be. So you only wear one contact lens and you'll have this artificial eye, which made me immediately go, cool, and I'm keeping that.
Yeah, what are they going to do with it
in
afterward?
my head?
Like, yeah.
It's mine. Yeah, exactly. Oh, we'll give it to the next guy. No, they're like actually fitted for my socket. But they could build anything. Like they could build an artificial eye that has an actual like light in it. Or I've seen actually there's a guy in the States who makes artificial eyes that you kind of wave it. They've got a Bluetooth thing in them. They can project like little images and things out of them.
Oh wow.
They could do anything with that. It would be super cool. Yeah, and then in terms of the character type, I mean, I really like playing villains. I spent the last year playing a lot of villains. I played Macbeth, I played Oedipus, Richard III in the last year. So I seem to have a bit of a typecasting. So I've gone from horrible, evil Klingon to, some of the worst murderers in history. You know what? I want to play a love interest.
An evil love
totally
interest.
Different. Hey, there we go.
Yeah,
I
Star Trek's had a couple of romantic villains lately.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
There it is.
They still need to cast Cybok, right?
Oh, they're bringing them. They got to, right?
They gotta.
I mean, if they don't, I would almost like just respect the level of trolling.
Yeah.
But I feel like they gotta.
Just never again.
Respect.
One little hint. Yep. Well,
just the back of them. That's it.
On the heels of that, we have a similar question from our friend Mark.
Hi, everyone. It's Engineer Mark here. And welcome back to the show, Bruce Horak. Happy to not only be a supporter of this show, but also a buddy of your adventures. And it's been fun with Hemmer, and then surprise Ghost Hemmer, then the extra fun surprise of K-pop Klingon Gorkog. You've talked of getting back on the show, something I'd very much like to see. For my question, is there something you'd like to bring in a return to the Trek universe? One of the other myriad races? Something unique? I'd like to hear. Thanks, and live long and prosper.
So with, you playing a few different roles, like, Jeffrey Combs has played how many different species? He's played Andorian, human, Ferengi, like all over the place. I think, I'm trying to remember if he's played any other, but yeah, is there, if you had a chance to just become in that same small club with Vaughn Armstrong and Jeffrey Combs, like what races would you choose?
Telosian.
Oh, yeah, that's a good choice.
Like a renegade Telosian. The big green head, Space Hand, Apollo,
the whale probe.
I want to play the whale probe. V'ger, but like a young V'ger.
Yeah.
Just like starting King out. V'ger.
Yeah. Just playing its records too loud. Yeah.
Just all the weird, like make some bad choices. Yeah, you know what? I love the prosthetics, and it's funny, like thinking of playing the human on Star Trek. But I really do. I love prosthetics. I love the mask work. I love the magic of seeing those things come to life. I think there's some real artistry to that, and and also I did, I think in my youth, think about getting into acting because I wanted to disappear into characters, and I think that still holds true. I love that my brother didn't know it was me.
Yeah.
Like that, to me, that's such a, talk about a bucket list thing. Yeah, and to transform in that way, and I think the prosthetic work is just, it's magic for that. More awesome aliens. God, there's been such good ones.
Man, you are nailing our callers' questions here. You sort of pre-answered this one from our good friend Abby, but I think you're going to enjoy it.
Great.
Hey, Open Pike and Bruce. This is Abby Summer from the First Flight podcast. So glad to have you back on again, Bruce. And I have to tell you that I have 2 young daughters, and both of them, anytime that your Klingon part of Subspace Rhapsody comes on, they stop, they sing, they dance, they love it. I had to explain to one of my daughter's teachers why she was talking about making your blood scream on the playground, which just gives me a chuckle, and we were all good with it when it was done. But my question is, you've played a lot of characters with a lot of makeup and prosthetics and all that. Can you talk a little bit about how that both helps and hinders the process, and if you have any wishes or hopes of a different type of alien species to play at some point, either on Trek or in the rest of the world? So thank you all for all that you do. Hope this finds you well, and we'll talk soon.
Abby, thank you, Abby, for that. Yeah, I really do love the prosthetics.
Well, I'm curious about outside of Star Trek. What other space franchises would you like to embody? Space franchises or fantasy realm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a huge fan of Terry Pratchett, who wrote the Discworld novels, and I know that there's been various attempts to film them, but I just think there's such a breadth of material there, and I would love to get involved in performing as some of those amazing characters. The trolls and the dwarves and whatnot. That would be awesome. He also wrote some, outside of the Discworld stuff, he wrote a few kids' books that I thought would be, there's one called The Carpet People, I think, about little people living in the carpet, which has got that Terry Pratchett hilarity to it, but also a bit of like, oh, this is a metaphor for life. As you do.
Yep.
With the good writing. I was also raised on the Oz books.
Ooh.
L. Frank Baum's original books. And I'm just rereading now. I read like 3 pages of an L. Frank Baum book, and it puts me to sleep like that. And I'm rereading Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz, which brings them back to Oz. But they're not there yet, but there's basically California has a huge earthquake, and the Wizard and Dorothy and a talking horse fall into the underworld and head on their way to Oz and meet all sorts of really bizarre creatures. That would be fun to play the wizard. I mean,
you were in a production of Wizard of Oz recently, weren't you? Who did you play?
I did. Yeah, I played the Scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz for Alberta Theatre Projects. And then, as I was saying, like I just recorded my first full length audiobook, but a year and a half ago, maybe, recorded, there's an accessible version of the Wizard of Oz that's coming out. And I'll send you links and information on it. But for that, I think there were 8 or 10 artists that got together, all with varying levels of visual impairment, and voiced for the novel. So there's a narrator, and then the characters come in, and I voiced the Scarecrow for that audiobook, which hopefully will see the light of day at some point.
That's cool.
I made I think an odd choice in that I basically did him as Sam Elliott.
No, a good choice. The word you're looking for is good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig your style, Dorothy.
Cannot wait.
I also played the Scarecrow, but I was like 11, so I didn't make any choices.
Oh,
I was just floppy.
Strong
that was my
and wrong.
choice.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting from this is Dorothy Gale is a natural disaster magnet. Tornadoes, earthquakes.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Some people got all the luck. So you say you love the prosthetics. What is it you do love about the prosthetics?
It's foundation of a lot of my work as a performer is mask work. It's the thing that really clicked for me was started out with a thing called neutral mask in theater school. And it's physical embodiment that, I find it transformative. When I look at the mask in the mirror, my body takes on a different shape, and because the shape of the body has changed, the voice is affected by that, and the movement all comes from that. And it's a really, I find it a very visceral and a really connected way to work in character. It's very much an outside in approach, and that just really, it appeals to me. So getting into those prosthetics, I find it just completely transformative. And as soon as I put Hammer on and the wardrobe and moved around in that, and I was able to take some film of myself and zoom in so I could really see how is the head moving, like do the antennas shake when he walks, or what's the best way to hold this face, and where do the eyes sit and all of that. And it changed my posture, and it just took on this physical being that I could get in and out of very, very fluidly, but at the end of the day, like literally pulled it off, washed off my face, and I was out of character and going home and having a good night's sleep. It's it's a really I feel like it's probably the healthiest process for me as a performer who has a tendency to bring my work home with me.
I can see that. Well, speaking of taking your work home, just to prove that Abby was not making up stories about her children singing General Garkog, we do have this clip. She had sent a clip of her daughter singing to us to play for Tom and Kay when they were on. But this little piece I had been cut out because a lot of it is unintelligible around it. But there's one part you can definitely hear that is of note to this conversation.
Make your blood scream.
We
know our purpose.
Purpose is.
And that was her just stumbling across her and recording her in secret. That was not performed or prodded.
That is so great. Oh my God.
And by the way, Abby, I could not get out of this interview without letting you specifically know that Bruce, just in case you weren't aware, did have a role in the 3rd episode of season 2 of a little show called Warehouse 13 all the way back in 2010 as Philo Farnsworth. And I know you're a big Warehouse 13 fan, so I got to ask, Bruce, Can you remember that far back? What was Warehouse 13 like?
Yeah, that was like one of my very first experiences on a big set. It was electric. I felt at the end of that day like I was completely worn out. It was so much fun. Very fast schedule, and yeah, popping into that series. I really liked Warehouse 13. Like it just had the flavor of like funny X-Files meets like Indiana Jones. Like anyway, I really enjoyed the show. And yeah, kind of getting to drop in as the Easter egg of Philo Farnsworth, who's like, yeah, man, he's awesome. He invented that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's nice to kind of look at these series and feel like I had, some contribution at least to the canon.
Philo Farnsworth, great Utah. I'll just say that. We briefly touched on conventions in our first chat with you, but you've done more of them since. Obviously, we met up with you in Las Vegas last year. How do you like the convention circuit?
I really have been enjoying myself on that. Yeah, I did Trek Long Island and Volcon and Vegas last year, and I really, really enjoyed it. Meeting the fans is the best. I mean, this what Jonathan Frakes said at my first convention. He's like, it's all love. Who doesn't love love? And yeah, I really, really enjoy it. I want to do more.
Those of you listening, make sure you get your tickets for Trek Long Island because Open Pike Night will be there this year.
Absolutely. And we have one more caller here, our friend Jen.
Hi, Open Pike. This is Jen. So glad you guys got Bruce to come back on the show. I'm one of his Patreons, so I get lots of information all the time. So I did want to say thank you, Bruce, for the painting you did of my mother. It was awesome. I guess the only question I really have, it's not really related to Star Trek or anything. As someone who's recently lost pretty much most of my peripheral vision, I was wondering, in your struggles and in your vision issues, if you have any advice on adapting. I mean, I think I'm adapted, and then, I go into a new location and I'm like all over the place bumping into stuff. So do you have any tips for people who've recently had vision issues, if that makes sense?
Definitely makes sense. Hey, Jen. Thank you for the question, and thanks for your support on Patreon. I really appreciate that. And Mark from earlier is another patron. Huge thanks for that. And yeah, I feel you on the vision issues. My vision continues to deteriorate in, I wouldn't say like drastic ways, but certainly noticeable. Like my night vision is almost nil, and when I especially notice it when I go from one lighting environment into another. Like it just takes me a lot longer to adjust to that. And over the course of my life, I think the big lesson, and I hear this from a lot of my visually impaired friends, is as hard as it is, slow down. Slow down. You don't need, like, if you can help it, because obviously there's some situations where, you got to rush, but if you can help it, slow down. Because you'll hear things, you'll feel things in taking your time that your brain will just not have time to compute. And before you know it, you've smacked your head on a counter, or you've missed a curb, or a car has bikes whizzing by and all of that. If you're a little bit slower, and it also affords your ears to open up a bit to the dark spots that your vision isn't seeing. I rely a lot more on because I'm completely blind on my right side, so my right ear is like cranked right up, and it's through practice of kind of being a little bit slower that helps in that regard. I hope that's helpful. And as always, instant forgiveness. If you bump into something, you say sorry, and if you bump into someone, say you're sorry. If you're bumping into something and you say you're sorry, that's how you know you're visually impaired.
I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say, Jen, offer the people in your life, a book reading so that they'll drive you around. I mean, that sounds like a wonderful gift that Bruce has been giving for years. So, like, it clearly has merit, right?
So is there anything you learned from your time on Strange New Worlds that you've applied to your work in the years since?
Wow. It's a big assumption that I learned anything. No. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you the experience of so much interaction with the fans over it has really, it's given me a great deal of reverence for this series. And I look back on the episodes as I'm watching them now, like, having to go back and watching like even the animated series, like there's a nugget of really wonderful wisdom in those shows. And I think the episodes that really stick out for me, and not, I hope I'm not giving any spoilers away for this season of Discovery, but they're talking about connection and community and the power of community and the power of being together, and what Strange New Worlds did in that first season through the adversity of basically you can't sit in the same room as each other, or having the masks and all of the mandates in place. What they were able to accomplish through that adversity, and the message of it is still so strong. And it's like, we're so much better together, and we go further together. It's given me a real appreciation for the people in my life that have been with me for so long, and are willing to put up with my insanity, or my what's the word? Artistic bent. How about that? And just finding similar weirdos who are into my weird, and I see that in I'm not there's. If Starfleet existed today, I would not be a member of it. I have none of the skills required to be a member of a Federation starship. But the lesson of it is so appreciated. Find your people. And this is what we get with Uhura in season 1. It's like, you found your people, put your roots down and get comfortable. And it's going to be an amazing ride. I find that lesson strikes with me every day as I gather those people with me and go on this incredible adventure.
Well said.
I love that. Do you feel that your time as Hemmer and, spouting all this technobabble and these made up words, did that in any way help you when you were told, okay, now you got to spout medical jargon as Adam Veery on Transplant? Or is it all just, the scripts are unique?
Oh yeah, they're all very unique, but it's funny. Like I breaking down medical jargon and breaking down space jargon, and breaking down Shakespeare are all very similar. And it's an approach that, kind of picked up in college as we, under the incredible direction of Anne Scrimger and Tom Bessie, who were my theater instructors at Mount Royal. Anne did voice and Tom did text. Really like the guidance of that, of basically sit down with a dictionary next to your lines and break these words down, because there is a meaning in them, and it may not be like immediately obvious on the first read or the second or the third read, but as you sit down and actually break the words down, then the meaning comes. And once you know what you're saying, there isn't another word for that. That's the word, that is the word to describe that thing, or that emotion or that action or whatever. So it just starts to click, but it takes a little bit of shifting of the brain, because it's not like regular parlance. Not that I speak regular parlance, because I use words like parlance.
That's that Sam Elliott coming back out. Yeah.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, everybody's been wondering about a role for Bruce in the future of Star Trek. I'm thinking robot cowboy who is also an antagonist. I'm ready for that.
I'm there.
Evil robot cowboy.
just High Noon with Pike. I mean, come on. Yeah.
They've been looking for the Western, right?
So,
we do have to ask outright at some point, like, are you coming back? Are there words? Is Bruce Horak coming back to Star Trek in any way?
Well, if I say no, will that stop people from reading or from watching season 3?
Probably not.
No. Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, there's nothing on the horizon for me, which breaks my heart. But season 4 is still to be written. I don't know.
But it has been greenlit.
We'll send some angry emails.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Send lots of emails. The fans brought the series back. They can bring back a Horak.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, we've given them lots of good ideas today, for sure.
Send emails. Click on the links in Bruce's newsletters. Come on, people.
Just a big mustache.
Yeah. So what, if anything, can you tell us about Blind Man's Bluff?
Oh, well, Blind Man's Bluff is an adaptation of a show that I've been doing called Assassinating Thompson, where I paint a portrait of the entire audience. In Blind Man's Bluff, I do that similar trick where I paint a portrait of the entire audience. And I get to talk about, it's basically a one-person show. So I paint the whole audience portrait, turn it around and auction it off to the highest bidder and give the proceeds to a local charity. But the content of the show is me telling my story of how I become a visually impaired artist and wind up on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise.
Oh, man.
That's great.
And the dream is, here's my dream, which I'm putting on to Open Pike Night, which is I would like to be named as a cultural ambassador for Canada. And I would like to tour that show to embassies around the world, promoting Canadian art and being an advocate for disability awareness.
Nice.
Do you know, are there any specific steps that fans and listeners can take to help that become a reality for you?
Well, write your congressman. No, I really don't know how to make this a reality. Other than to basically keep putting it out there. I'm sure there is someone who's got a connection somewhere. Yeah, it's getting to paint and getting to tell that story, and using those gifts for good is pretty thrilling. Last year, I did a tour of Assassinating Thompson in Manitoba, and after each show, I auctioned the portrait off and donated the proceeds to Canadian Guide Dogs for the Blind. And last year, over the course of 1 month, we raised $10,000.
Wow.
Guide Dogs for the Blind is a charity that's really near and dear to my heart. Someday I would love to get a service animal. It's a long process here in Canada. And as you're probably aware, like they're really quite remarkable creatures. They can only work for 5 years and then they have to be retired. So, once you kind of get into service animal territory, like they're really rare. So it's my great honor to be able to support that, because I know what it does for people who are losing their eyesight. Like their worlds literally get smaller, oftentimes from the periphery in. And having a service animal, I mean, it just basically opens the world for you again, not only in companionship, but accessibility to the world.
You heard him here, folks. Start manifesting, put the vibes out, add the energy. Let's do it.
We'll get you out there. We'll get Melissa to space.
Yep.
That's it.
Done.
Yeah.
Magic happens. Magic happens when we work together.
Community.
How many paintings into your project are you now?
Oh, I am at portrait number 706 in the way I see it portrait series. Yeah, so the big news is that there's a production company here in Stratford, Ontario called Ballinran Entertainment, and they do a lot of documentary. They were responsible for producing and developing and creating a show or a documentary with William Shatner called Captains, where William Shatner goes and interviews 5 captains, I think. Craig Thompson of Ballinran Entertainment reached out to me about my art practice particularly. And so we're in development of a series right now called Boldly Going, where it's going to be a half-hour series, and I will sit and paint a person's portrait and interview them and get their life story. And basically it's a combination of kind of the Blind Man Travels show and, a gentle Bob Ross experience where I paint a portrait and chat with someone. And we're looking for people who are artists in their own way and have overcome adversity in some form or another, which leaves it open, I think, to some pretty cool adventures. So we're moving the ball down the field, as they say.
That's cool. And I can personally attest that, a sitting with Bruce is a super fun experience.
Oh, yeah. So. John, yes, you sat. Yep. You sat, yeah.
Well, I've got to know about Goblin Macbeth because it sounds amazing. Okay. And give us the pitch.
Goblin Macbeth. So 3 goblins uncover the works of William Shakespeare. They take over a theater and they attempt to do the bloodiest and shortest of Shakespeare's works. It is an absolute riot. Goblin Macbeth is kind of the brainchild of Rebecca Northan, who and myself as a co-conspirator, and our musician Ellis Lalonde. And we've got these Hollywood-grade goblin masks. They're from a company called Composite Effects in the States that builds stuff for like Game of Thrones style. So we got these 3 goblin masks, and these 3 characters basically show up at the theater. We break in. We force a stage manager to run lights for us and do a 3-person version of the Scottish play. At first, what is kind of unusual about it is that the goblins are really good at Shakespeare. And then they kind of step out every now and again and comment on it. And they find humans very confusing. In goblin culture, they're like, you don't pretend. Pretending doesn't make any sense, and standing up in front of a group of your peers and pretending to be someone else is really weird. Like, and in fact, if the other goblins found out that we were doing this, they would probably kill us. So there's a heightened sense of that. Anyway, Goblin Macbeth has been touring, and it's a riot. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds delightful.
So Ellis Lalonde plays Moog, and he does all the music. And then Rebecca and I play Cragva and Wug. And Cragva and Wug do all the characters. So we switch off. Sometimes halfway through a scene, we'll switch off. And oddly, I'll start playing Mackers, and then Banquo will walk in. So I'll play Banquo too. And then, I got to move over here. So then Rebecca takes over as Banquo for half of that line. Or sorry, I should say Cragva, mixing up my goblins. It's kind of absurd. It's really fun. It's actually quite bloody, and audiences have just been eating it up. The best audiences have actually been the high school matinees. There's a blend of like a reverence for Shakespeare, but also kind of the fantastical realm, and it's got a bit of a goth vibe, and it really doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a lot of fun, and then from that Rebecca and I and Ellis performed Goblin Oedipus at the High Performance Rodeo in Calgary in January. We did a week-long run of that, kind of bit of a workshop production. We thought the goblins kind of figured out Shakespeare, figured they got that one, so they're going to go back to the classics, and they rip apart Oedipus, Sophocles, go back to the Greeks. And that one got really weird and super fun. Oh my God. Ellis built a 4.5 foot tall paper mache phallus, and his goblin at the beginning brought in this giant phallus, and we sort of surfed it through the audience who were lined up outside the theater, and then we used it to bang on the front door of the theater to get let in to begin the festival of Dionysus, which is Dionysus, of course, was the god of theater and giant wangs.
Now I just want Goblin Lysistrata.
Well, there's an episode title right there.
I feel like we got into mythology again. Are we doing that?
Yes,
didn't we do this last time?
Yeah, you mentioned earlier tonight, finding your kind of people that are into your kind of weird, and I gotta say, I feel like you've done that, sir.
It seems like you have succeeded.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I don't remember when my cohort and I started saying this, but yeah, it's like find your weird, I think, was something discovered in your 20s. It's like, yeah, get the people in your life who dig your weird, and you can't really go wrong because you'll be there with people who support your ideas and are willing to try this stuff. And I've been very fortunate in my life to have quite an adventurous cohort. I blame it all on Loose Moose Theater in Calgary and Keith Johnstone, who was an improv teacher out there and taught us all to say yes He said people who say no are going to be rewarded with very safe lives, but people who say yes will be rewarded with the adventures they have.
Yeah.
And I take that with me in my heart. I don't always practice it, because running into traffic is not always the best idea. You got to say no sometimes, but I've been very, very blessed to meet a fantastic group of weirdos, and they seem to be all over the globe now. Hooray!
That's great. Well, in the spirit of saying yes, Bruce Horak, Open Pike Night is an Open Mic Night themed podcast. Do you have a joke to tell us this evening?
Right. What do an elephant and a grape have in common? They're both purple, except for the elephant.
This is true. This is accurate.
Oh, and then the other one was, and this goes back to my Catholic roots, but Moses comes down from the mountains. He's got 2 tablets. He says, all right, everybody, I got good news. I got bad news. The good news is I got him down to 10. Bad news is adultery is still on the list. Sorry. It seems, I don't know, relevant given our current state. Anyway, hey, zing!
The Goblin 10 Commandments. I'll be waiting for that one.
Oh, man.
Yeah. We're definitely going to be developing more Goblin material. The dream is to have a full Goblin empire by the time we're ready to retire.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Can't wait till they discover Star Trek.
Be sure to check out Bruce's website, brucehorak.com. These sound like shows that you want to go to, knowing some of our listeners, and honestly,
Great.
I want to go. So let's make this happen, you guys.
Wouldn't the Goblins be great at a Trek convention?
Oh, man.
Oh.
Yes. Doing Shakespeare? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Being, looked up and down by Ferengi and Klingons the whole time. Like this, we need to get goblins in Star Trek. You're right.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Bruce.
Thanks,
this has been
great to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you again. Great to spend more time. And we can't wait to see what's coming next.
Have a great time in New York. I was there, or Long Island. It was there last year. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Oh, good. Yeah, we've never been, so excited.
Looking forward to it. Well, like Bruce mentioned, we are going to be at Trek Long Island this year. Isn't that right, Cam?
That's right. Very excited for both Open Pike Night and Green Shirt to have a presence at Trek Long Island.
We can finally announce that Cam and John will be hosting a Star Trek Discovery panel called Let's Fly, which is a spotlight on all of Star Trek Discovery, and there are going to be some serious names on stage with them. Elias Tufexis, who plays Locke, Janet Kidder, who plays Osira, Tara Rosling, who plays Tarina, our favorite Vulcan, and Orville Cummings, who plays Lieutenant Christopher. They're going to look back at the whole season, talk about memories, answer fan questions, and that's going to be Saturday at 4 p.m. on the main stage.
Heck yeah.
No big deal.
Can't wait. Cannot wait. But since we do have to wait, Cameron, when you're not on the Open Pike Night Stage, where can folks find you?
Vacuuming up the last season of Star Trek The Next Generation over on Green Shirt, where we're finishing up that series as well as tackling Deep Space Nine.
And Jesse, we heard some great callers tonight. How can folks get their voices on the Open Pike Night Stage?
The easiest way to become part of the Open Pike Night family is to just go to openpike.com. There's a little tab right there that will say record your message. You can sign up for our free newsletter that will come directly to your inbox to let you know who is coming up next on Open Pike Night and give you a heads up so that you can get your questions sorted and recorded by going to openpike.substack.com. You can support us on Patreon. You can buy our merch. The links for everything are right there at openpike.com. And if you don't already follow us on social media, what are you doing? We're giving away 2 passes to Trek Long Island on social media. So go follow us on Twitter at OpenPike, or if you want and you're listening to this right now, you can send us an email at openpike@gmail.com. Here is your task. You have been convicted of a Star Trek crime. We've got Nira Katul lined up to defend you, but we need to know what you did. Our favorite answer to this question will receive 2 free passes to Star Trek Long Island.
All right. Well, It's been a long night, and we have to go clean out all these elephants and grapes. Bruce brought lots of visual aids for his joke. It's going to take us a while, so be sure to clean up after yourselves. Be sure to tip your servers. You can go anywhere you want, but you can't stay here.